What's going on, guys? Hey, it's Anthony with the Rent Experiment. Thank you for tuning in. And today we are going to be talking about travel on the Tuesday episode here at the Rent Experiment. So stay tuned. All right, guys, first and foremost, thank you for tuning in. If you guys like these kinds of shows and like what we're doing, make sure hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and everything else. We do appreciate it. And check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. So today we're going to be talking about travel simply because I have been traveling quite a bit lately, and I want to just talk through a couple of the good, the bads, and everything in between. So with traveling comes a lot of things. Obviously, depending on your destination and how you're traveling will determine pretty much how everything goes. Obviously, if you're just driving to the airport, jumping on a plane, traveling across the country, if it's a vacation, is it business, no matter what it is, there's always something attached to it. And what do I mean by that? Well, I just flew in this morning, and one of the flights coming in, it was kind of interesting because I was flying with a group of Jehovah's Witness, which I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent, but there was a bunch of them. They all had name tags on them. That's why it was easy to find. I had no interactions with them, just a thing to talk about. The other group I flew in with was a young, probably junior high cheerleading squad. And interesting enough, I had one of them stop me and was asking if they could switch seats. At first, I didn't know what they were talking about, and it was kind of a goofy situation. I kind of felt bad afterward because I believe the person's mom stopped me and said, "Hey, can you switch, or don't worry about it," so forth and so on. So I just sat back down and said, okay. And I had one of the cheer kids sitting next to me, and holy cow, let me just say that. Not in a bad way, but definitely interesting, simply because we had jazz hands going on, listening to music, which was cool. I was watching a movie, and they, interesting enough, were doing, I don't know if it was a routine or what, in the seat for about an hour. So that was new to me. I haven't seen that before while flying. I've seen a lot of other things, but that was new to me. So obviously, one of the big things with flying, especially if you're going on long trips, is you got to have that patience. Make sure that you're prepared for the flight, no matter what it is. Generally, I try to eat, hydrate before a flight, and then make sure I'm loaded up. Now, more or less, that's the point of today's conversation, is getting prepared for that type of travel. We're going to dive into road trips and so much other things in different videos, but in this one, let's talk about air travel. Now, I did a couple of things prior to going on this flight. Obviously, I was aware of it. I was out on business, and it was a very quick and long day of business in which I traveled for. So I traveled in the night before, spent the night in the hotel, got up really early, had to catch a bus about 5:30 a.m. So I was up at 4 a.m. and then went and did the deal. Got back at approximately 8:30 that evening, and then ate some dinner, went to bed, got up again at 4 a.m., and a buddy of mine picked me up. We went to the airport. Well, while I anticipated that, of course, I downloaded a movie, watched that new movie at the this is, what is this? The spring of 2019, I watched that new movie, Vice. I'm not going to talk too much about that at all, but downloaded that movie and downloaded a couple other movies, and then got onto Alaska Airlines. Now, Alaska Airlines does offer that go in-flight deal, which is pretty cool. So I, instead of watching some of those movies, I ended up watching one of their videos that they offer online. I had my iPad, got it all set up. Life was good. the flight was enjoyable, and then the video cuts out, I think, like 10 or 20 minutes before the flight ends, and it jumped over to a podcast. I already downloaded podcasts. I generally come pretty prepared as long as I have time to anticipate travel, simply because you don't know if you're going to get stuck in an airport. A couple of weeks before that, I did get stuck in an airport for about 5 hours. I was not prepared for that. No Wi-Fi, or the Wi-Fi was very weak, and then the cell service was mediocre at best. So I was left to my own demise. Was able to search internet, not able to download any kind of movies or any entertainment. So I had to pay the price on that. So think about that before you travel. Entertainment, I know that everybody has their widgets and their ways of doing things, but I highly suggest, especially with new products. I currently have the iPhone X. She just had to get this replaced because the speakers went out on it. But I have a 256 gig, and one of the coolest and most important things for me personally, because I do travel a lot, is having that large hard drive. Now, I use that for photos, videos, and for photos and videos that I take, and for uploading seasons of shows and multiple movies, so forth and so on. Now, to each their own on however you do that. I don't care if you're using Android, Samsung, whatever. Now, another critical component with that is monitoring your charging. Now, what I suggest for that is obviously carry various chargers with you. I do on every trip I go on. I always carry multiple chargers. Now, an important part about that, and a thing that I do when I go to the airport, is I try to find a location, whether it's close to the terminal or not, to sit out for the majority of my waiting time to board the plane, and I will run it to pretty much the last half hour, and then I'll try to sit somewhere and charge. Now, that's super critical because that way you're fully charged. Now, in addition to that, I carry one of these Mophie, and I'll put a couple of these options down below if you guys are interested. Amazon links to them. We are affiliates, so please click the links if you're interested in these. But I would suggest these. Now, this one I got for a deal. It's a Mophie charger. You can see the lights are lit up. It has a USB on it. Hold on here. There we go. USB right there. And then it charges with that guy right there. So I always keep this thing charged, throw it in my bag, and I did use this because as a part of my business trip, we went on over a 3-hour ride. And with that 3-hour ride, I got to charge it up because I was anticipating using my phone for photos and video. Now, that's absolutely critical. I don't care if you're on business or on vacation. There's nothing worse than showing up at wherever your destination is and having to go find a charger at that point. Now, something to think about. Obviously, again, I'll put links to this down below. Charge before you fly, and anticipate any kind of entertainment that you're looking to dive into while on the adventure that you're on. Now, you can set that up numerous ways. I mean, one cool thing I was testing out while I was actually waiting at the airport was the DirecTV TV deal. I watched a little bit. I was just more or less messing around with the app. Now, it doesn't have to be TV or Netflix or whatever. Maybe you're into podcasts. Download those podcasts beforehand. It kind of keeps you fresh and kind of keeps you going. Between those, I also have, photo editing and stuff for the Rent Start Experiment on Instagram. So what I'll also do in addition to that, if I don't feel like watching movies or TV, then I'll just simply dive over and start editing photos and videos and do that for a little while. And so much more. Anyways, I just felt like talking about that because it's relevant to me at this time, and we're going to have a lot of other cool tips and tricks for travel. I think the next one, maybe if we talk about it and if it's relevant, we'll talk about ground travel if you're loading up your car, truck, bringing the family, and so much more. Anyways, guys, I do want to thank you guys for tuning into the Rent Start Experiment. We are trying to get this Tuesday content and motivation thing kicked off right. So again, I appreciate you guys tuning in and checking us out. We've got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to start covering. I am really liking this new setup. I'm learning a lot, which is one of the primary reasons why I wanted to do all of this. And I hope you guys are enjoying some of the topics we're talking about. If you guys have any suggestions, questions, comments, any of that stuff, make sure to drop it down below. And, of course, hit that subscribe button. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere else. This is your Tuesday Content Motivation. Talking about flights today, and we've got a lot of other things to cover here at the Richmond Experiment. So until next time, guys, take care, and we'll see you in the next video.